If you ask 10 people what the best brand of power tools is, you'll probably get 10 different answers. But when the need arose for me to start acquiring power tools, Team Green was the obvious choice for me. After 4 years of buying and using Ryobi power tools, I think it's finally time we talk about why. Right after this message from today's sponsor, TomTalk. TomTalk is an innovative company dedicated to protecting your digital gear with products like their Wanderer T26 sling I have here. At 5.5 liters, it's the perfect size for something like a Steam Deck or a couple of GoPros, and the durable, water-resistant 1680D Cordura fabric shell and blue ripstop lining are ready for whatever you can throw at them. It's loaded with pockets, and the removable padded shoulder strap attaches with rotating Duraflex buckles to make it comfortable to carry on either shoulder. To find out more about TomTalk's Wanderer T26 sling or purchase your own, check out the link in the video description. Now back to the video. When I first started rebuilding my Pontiac Firebird almost 5 years ago now, I realized pretty quickly how much time and effort a few cordless power tools were going to save me. Most of my dad's power tools were either corded or pneumatic, and while they performed really well, I really didn't like dealing with cords and hoses. We did have a few cordless Black & Decker yard tools, and a Harbor Freight cordless drill and recip saw, but the batteries in these cheaper cordless tools would rarely survive for 2 years before needing replaced. And that was not something I was willing to put up with. What's more, Black & Decker had changed their battery design over the years, which left third-party Chinese replacements as the only option. Ironically, these Chinese replacement batteries have actually lasted far longer than the OEM batteries they replaced, but third-party batteries vary wildly in quality, and you never know what you're gonna get. So I did what anyone from my generation does. I asked Google. One thing I was insistent on was that whoever's cordless system I chose needed to include every tool I wanted. I refused to have multiple brands of batteries and chargers laying around my house. Every tool needed to use the same battery. No exception. And that made some brands like Hart and Cobalt easy to rule out just because their library of tools were more limited and didn't include things I knew I wanted in the future, like a cordless grease gun or DA polisher. It's important to note though that some of those brands I ruled out have now expanded to include some of these more niche tools, but I was shopping based on what was available at the time, not what might be released later, and I would strongly encourage anyone to do the same. After some careful consideration, I narrowed the field down to 3 contenders that met my requirements. Milwaukee, because they seem to be the most well-liked amongst reviewers. Makita, because they are still an independent company, their tools really do seem to have the best build quality and engineering, and their dual battery 36-volt platform was really appealing for more power-hungry tasks. And the final contender was Ryobi, mostly for their price. I ended up nixing Makita because while their build quality and 36-volt lineup were great, their price was comparatively astronomical. I also already have a very reliable gasoline push mower and chainsaw that I have no plans to replace, and those were really the 2 areas where 36 volts would have really shined. I was pretty much set on Milwaukee at this point, mainly because of the reviews claiming their quality and reliability was so much greater than that of Ryobi. I think I even went so far as to be partway through the online checkout process when I noticed something. Several of the YouTubers I watch use Ryobi power tools. If they were good enough for Becky and Chris, Shara from Shara's Woodshop Diaries, and especially Colin Furs, they were probably going to be good enough for me. And while I'm sure the quality and warranty justify Milwaukee's prices, when you're coming from a family who primarily gets their tools from Harbor Freight, those prices were still some tough pills to swallow. Ryobi's more pocket-friendly prices would mean I could cross off items on my tool wish list much faster than if I had chosen Team Red or Team Teal. What sealed the deal though was that Ryobi is the only company that, for better or for worse, has committed to never changing their 18-volt battery form factor. The Ryobi tools people bought back in 1996 can still accept the modern, high-power lithium batteries that their very latest tools use. And that, more than anything else, was enough to seal the deal. My first tools from Home Depot were Ryobi's cordless ratchet, drill driver, and mid-torque impact wrench, and I'm pleased to report that they are all still working just as well today as they did 4 years ago, despite how brutally some of them have been treated. They've rebuilt the Firebird's engine twice now, removed countless lug nuts, assisted with pretty much all my power sports maintenance, and too many other things to even mention. Since getting this original trio, my collection has grown to about 10 tools and enough batteries to keep me busy all day long. Every tool and battery has performed flawlessly since the day I got them, with one very small exception. The friction ring on the impact wrench came flying off one day as I removed a socket. I never did find it, but since the 10-pack of replacement rings was about $2 on Amazon, I didn't spend much time searching for it either. Overall, I have zero complaints with any of the tools I've got so far. They all perform strong and consistent, and the oldest battery in my collection doesn't show the slightest sign of wearing out yet. And Ryobi has continued to expand their lineup. One thing I'd been wanting was a high-torque impact wrench, and just last year, Ryobi finally released one. It may have a few less foot-pounds of torque compared to its Milwaukee counterpart, but in the real world, it isn't going to make enough of a difference to really matter. And build quality-wise, I don't notice anything that makes Ryobi tools seem worse than their more expensive competition. My family's Harbor Freight cordless tools are pervaded by an ill-molded plasticky feel that does not inspire confidence. My Ryobi tools all feel solid, well-balanced, and durable with very precise moldings. And while my first 3 tools cost me the full MSRP, I learned pretty quickly that there are far better ways to buy them. Direct Tools Online is Ryobi's factory outlet, and any tools listed there as factory blemished are actually brand new and straight from Ryobi. By waiting for a holiday sale to show up, I've saved hundreds of dollars. I was able to pick up the 3-gallon shop vac that costs $130 from Home Depot for only 40 bucks during a 4th of July sale last year. It really is amazing the value you can get for your money. Ryobi does have a few duds in their lineup though. I was initially really excited to see them release their track saw, but after seeing it in person at Home Depot, it was pretty disappointing. Almost every part, including the blade cover, was plastic, and that plastic base was a bit too flexible to get the accuracy I wanted in a tool like that. In this instance, I just decided to get a corded model from Makita. I figured I'd always have a dust collection hose hooked up anyways, so a cord wouldn't really add any bother. And so far I've been really happy with it. And that's something that's important to keep in mind. Not every tool benefits from being battery powered. Pretty much anything stationary, like a miter saw for example, I'll buy corded from whatever company I want. For my situation, there's no benefit to tools like that being battery powered, since I don't move them around while using them. Now at this point, at least one of you is probably thinking, hey, my 7.2 volt Makita tools from 1978 are still working perfectly. 4 years is nothing. And you have a point. My experience is certainly not all-encompassing, but after 4 years of dutiful service without a single issue so far, I have no problem recommending Ryobi's 18-volt tool lineup as a whole. Whether you're a homeowner on a budget or someone like me who's gearing up for a lifetime of DIY projects, as long as you keep an eye out for the occasional dud in their lineup, Ryobi's tools aren't just a great value, they're great tools. And if you do manage to somehow wear them out, go buy the Makita or Milwaukee versions. If you don't wear them out, then congratulations. You've bought the perfect tool for your needs. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit like, get subscribed, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And I will see you guys in the next one.